good afternoon. Here we still sit at the MOBE Symposium 2019. And at this point in time, we want to just pull different attendees out and find out, why are you here? What is it that you do? And what you were able to take away from this particular event. And so now we sit with Esther Lewars, pardon my manners, Esther Lewars of Newark, New Jersey. And so we're going to just play I Don't Know You. And we're going to learn you from there.
All right, sounds great.
Esther, what is it that you do on a daily basis?
Okay, so I am an educational technologist. On a daily basis, I teach teachers how to integrate technology in the classroom. On a volunteer basis, I'm also the chair of the City of Newark Caribbean Commission. And so we are like a liaison to the mayor's office for the Caribbean community. So the Caribbean Commission it involves about 9 active individuals from various Caribbean islands. So we try to promote Caribbean culture, Caribbean awareness, and to be that resource for the community.
How large is the Caribbean community here in Newark?
So we have a quite large community, especially in the West Ward of Newark. And you can find from our Haitian population, Guyanese, Jamaican. So I would say probably about 5 to 10%.
That's a nice size.
Of our individuals are from the Caribbean.
Very nice size. So as the chair, that means you have to keep him in line, be able to develop the agenda, but be a good leader and focus on that. How do you approach that? How do you approach being the chair and representing individuals and their, I guess for lack of the best way to say it, lifestyle?
So I would say that being the chair involves taking various aspects of my background, my experience.
Where are you from, by the way?
So I am originally from Jamaica.
Okay.
Immigrant from Jamaica at the age of 17. I've since attended Rutgers University, NJIT, where I studied information systems. I've been to Teachers College, Columbia, where I have a master's in computing and education, as well as Seton Hall, where I have obtained a EDS degree, educational specialist degree in education management and policy.
Much love.
So it's taking all of those experiences, those knowledge, and having that passion to teach and train as well as to serve. Also makes it very easy to work and advocate on behalf of the Caribbean community. So it takes finding people that are committed to the cause, that are willing to put in the time and effort that it needs to really develop as a commission, because we're a fairly new commission. And it's also speaking with the community to see what the needs are and how we can work to solve any issues or concerns, or just promote services and resources that are available in the city of Newark to all residents, including the Caribbean community.
No doubt. So let's move on to education, because that's something very near and dear to my heart. And you're working with you're training teachers how to adapt and use technology in learning situations. Did I get that correctly?
Yes.
How difficult is that?
Okay, so how much time do I have?
I used to work at a Board of Education, and when they started moving over the curriculum and taking the time to focus specific things on technology,
Right.
it was quite difficult, because everybody becomes accustomed to a certain way of doing things. And then here you come along with your little laptop, introducing new and innovative ways that are now a must.
Right.
How do you do it?
Okay, so 17 years teaching teachers how to do this. Initially, it was very difficult. That was in 2002, 2003. So teachers, it was okay to say, I don't know how to turn on the computer, or, that's not, I don't do that. But I had to develop systems in place to show teachers the importance and why it is that they need to learn, because it's going to impact our students, and it's the students that actually need to obtain those skills, those life skills. And so from, just professional development and training, being patient and working with them at the level that they are, and still having that high expectation that, you're not just going to leave your students, you're expected to integrate it. So I'm going to show you what to do and have that expectation that they are going to follow up.
I'm going to ask you a secret. Now, and you might not be able to answer this but how many teachers really don't have had the technological skill set in order to use it or incorporate it in their curriculum?
So back then, it was a high percentage. I would say that today, I can confidently say, not having the exact research, that because students have, with assessments online and various productivity tools and responsibilities, like putting their grades in the grade books, or students are doing assessments, various assessments online, teachers have recognized the importance. So it's like a gradual, okay, this is something that I have to do, and so I have to do it. And then from, the daily use, then you can, as a teacher, coach, or trainer, you can add on those other things, like, this is how you can do a video to integrate it in your classroom, or these are some things you could do to collaborate with, say, an author or somebody online. So it's like, moving from the things that are necessary to things that can add value to the students' learning and what they actually need to know as far as technology.
So let me ask you this, because everybody learns and has that capacity when properly taught, or there's a lot of self-learners out there as well. But I guess my question for you is, has there been a change in the ability of learning since incorporating technology?
Very good question. So I would say that technology, though it's required for students, their standards that say students are expected to learn these, it should not be a focus. So technology is there to support the learning in math, in language arts, in the other content area. So though there's no specific data that says technology has helped to improve academics by 5%, I can definitely see where it has provided tools, data. So it has made online assessments. That data is available to teachers. They can do real-time feedback to students, so students can easily make, adapt to the learning, and teachers can adapt and change if they see students, they aren't getting something, or, so the data being available readily has definitely helped improve the strategies that teachers can use to impact and improve students' learning.
Now, you brought up something that I want to take the time to help educate people about, because a lot of people realize, well, doesn't the teacher see Johnny having a problem? And you have mentioned and brought about the fact that it's the data. The data is also what drives the decisions based on not just grades, but now with the technology, does it say like how long it took Johnny to complete a project, and does that have emphasis on it? I mean, what type of data do you pull down in order to determine what modifications need to be made to a learning strategy?
Okay, so before I answer that, so I'm also an adjunct professor at NJIT, where I teach information systems. And information systems is about recognizing what data is, how that data is collected, stored, and then analyzed. And so in order for you to have accurate data, it must be collected correctly, it must be categorized, and be able to then access it and come up with meaningful information. So for our teachers to be able to, form those responses, it's important that we have not just the mainstream platforms that they go on online and do an assessment, and that's like a standalone thing.
Right.
They might have another program where they go and learn how to read, and the teacher can get that report and see what's happening. But it's important that there's like some centralized
Yes.
data system where all that, whether it's a summary or data, is being collected where everyone has access
Yes.
to be able to see across various areas how the students are doing.
Yes.
So there are platforms and tools that they can use. For example, a News ELA, if they're for reading. So there are tools that that are being marketed to schools for those reasons. But it's also important that schools invest in centralized databases and platforms that can take and process everyday data such as their homework and those tests that they do, and see how students are moving along throughout the year, and not just wait until the end of the year, but routinely there is a system to see where students are, and then be able to make those corrective changes and get the parents involved as well. Because today they mentioned in a community, so it takes a community, the students, the parents, the administrators, to get involved in getting them to where they need to be.
Look, I just want to let folks know, as somebody who also trained paraprofessionals and teachers and did things of that nature, you have one of the hardest jobs. It's harder to teach an adult who's teaching children than it is to teach children.
I know.
Because you're asking somebody who has a learned behavior to modify that, as opposed to a child who is a lot more acquiescent to change.
Right. I would also say that, in addition to that, that our teachers have a lot on their plates. And, time, there's always not enough time to, do the things that they would probably like to do as a teacher. And so, if you're coming to them with something to do, you must be able to show how it relates to their lesson, to their objectives.
Make it correlate.
Right.
And
So-
take out some of the stress because
Right.
you're working it in.
Right. So that will help the process of them supporting you in your
And
ability.
accepting.
Right.
Change.
Yes.
It's difficult. But if you collect enough, you got $1.
That's true.
So let me ask you about this as we close out. What did attending MOBE offer you today?
So attending MOBE was an enlightening experience. It was great to come into the room and see, a great gathering of African American and individuals. It's a diverse group, but
Yes.
mostly African American individuals, and the types of panelists that presented to us. So there were things that I learned, such as the whole e-gaming thing. So I have a 10-year-old son and a 13-year-old daughter, but he's very big into Fortnite. And as parents, you're like, okay, you can't be playing this game all the time. But from the presentation, we're like, okay, might be there is another way to look at it, to see how we can start to get him to think about those business and entrepreneurial ways that that do exist within the e-gaming industry. So, right. So that was very enlightening, and just networking and speaking to other individuals that are doing great things, very inspired, and so over the last 10 years, I developed my own consulting company called Vernov Technology, but I haven't taken the time to invest and develop. It's Vernov Technology.
How do you get in touch with somebody who's looking for some consultation?
Okay, so you can definitely get in touch with me on all platforms. LinkedIn as Esther Lewars. That's Esther, Esther Lewars. So I'm on LinkedIn as Esther Lewars, on Twitter, on Facebook as the same. So you can definitely contact me, and I can tell you more about what I do in terms of educational technology, training and development, marketing, website development, or just as a subject matter expert. So if you have an idea of something that you want to do, you want to, just sit and talk to somebody with that knowledge, I can offer that service as well.
I'm so grateful for the time that you gave us today. I think that you were able to highlight certain things that, in regards to training teachers and the information that is coming to them, and then also how different aspects of education are approached, that data-driven, how teachers are trained, that you are actually somebody who goes in and helps them to modify their practices in order to make sure that certain skills are developed and honed within our youth. And so I'd like to thank you for that, because your commitment, your passion that you exposed to me today during the course of this conversation, and the fact that you're here looking for ways to take it to a whole other level is quite commendable. And so I would like to thank you for the educator that you are.
Thank you.
Much love and blessings.
Yes, and thank you for the opportunity.
Oh,
to
not a
share.
problem. And we will make sure that anybody interested in incorporating technology into their, and needs that consultation, because even parents, even if you come up with some kind of program where you can peddle it to parents, I'm sure that there's an organization out there looking for you to develop something. There's an organization out there that is looking for her to come in and develop a basic program for these parents to use to assist their children with homework even. Or after school organizations be more effective.
Small businesses.
Small business, the whole gambit. Holla at Esther.
Yeah,
She's here for
awesome.
you.
Thank you very much.
Oh, you're
Yes.
quite welcome. Much love and blessings.
You too.